The clock reads 3:56 in the afternoon. The landscape outside the window, the light entering the room, the sound of your breathing. Suddenly, your mind freezes. A shiver runs down your spine. Time, for an instant, seems to bend back on itself. You've been here before. You've seen this. You've heard these words. The feeling is familiar, almost intimate, yet the memory doesn't exist. This is Déjà Vu. Science, in its quest for order and reason, has an answer. A processing error in the brain. A neurological short circuit that confuses the present with the past. A harmless glitch in the great machine that is the human mind. But what if it's the opposite? What if Déjà Vu isn't a flaw, but a message? A whisper from the universe trying to tell us that the reality we perceive is far more fragile and malleable than we imagine. To explore this idea, we must free ourselves from the linear concept of time. Forget about the past, present, and future as a straight line. Think of them as superimposed layers, like radio stations playing simultaneously with our consciousness. Most of the time, tuned into only one of them, but in rare moments, that tuning fails. And for an instant, what we call the future merges with what we call the present. Ancient Hermetic manuscripts suggest that time is not a dimension, but a feeling, a subjective experience created by our mind to make sense of a chaotic reality. According to these texts, our consciousness doesn't live in time, but floats through it. Déjà vu would be living proof that our consciousness, for a fraction of a second, has jumped to a different layer of reality, to a version of a future that has not yet happened. It is a glimpse, an echo. But why does this happen? The universe does nothing without a purpose. What is it trying to show us? The answer may lie in simulation theory. The idea that our reality is nothing more than a digital construct, an incredibly complex computer program, and Déjà Vu, just a glitch. A flaw in the code, like a video game that, when loading a new level, briefly repeats the previous one. What if you're not a player, but about a character inside a virtual world? Déjà vu would be the first clue, the first sign that your reality is not as solid as it seems, and your body, your brain, your mind, they are merely the hardware that runs the program. What quantum physics doesn't tell you is that reality is not a fact, but a probability. The universe is not a place of solid objects, but of energy fields. And you, with your consciousness, are the one who gives form to this energy. You are the observer who collapses the wave of possibilities into a single reality. Déjà vu, then, is not an error, but a synchronicity, a manifestation of a reality that you have already created, perhaps in a dream or in a moment of deep concentration. It is a reminder. The universe is saying, you've been here before. You've done this before. You are on the right path. Keep going. But there's a dark side to this. What if Déjà Vu is proof that we are in a time loop, trapped in a cycle of repetition, where past mistakes become the present? What about the people who live a life of regrets, of failures, of fears? What if they are trapped in their own déjà vu, condemned to relive the same story, day after day, without even realizing it? The only way to break the cycle is through consciousness, the ability to see the pattern and to change the path. The great conspiracy behind déjà vu is that the system doesn't want you to use it. The system wants you to believe that reality is solid, that time is linear, and that you have no control. Because if you knew that you could shape your reality, that time is a tool and not a prison, the system would no longer have power over you. That's why science minimizes the phenomenon, calling it an error. Because if you start to pay attention, to understand déjà vu, you will start to question everything. You will see that your life is not an accident, but a sequence of choices that have brought you here, and that déjà vu is not a repetition, but an opportunity. An opportunity to change the ending. But how do you do that? How do you use déjà vu to your advantage? The key is the consciousness logbook. The first step is simple, but it requires discipline. You need to start recording. And I'm not just referring to events. I'm referring to feelings, to sensations, synchronicities. When you feel a déjà vu, stop. Write down the date, the time, the place, and most importantly, write down the emotion you felt. Was it fear? Was it joy? Was it longing? Over time, you will begin to see patterns. You will see that certain déjà vus are linked to certain emotions, and that these patterns are in fact a map. The map of your life. It will show you the paths you've already walked and the ones you need to walk. But what hidden science doesn't tell you is that déjà vu is not just a repetition, but a projection. The universe is showing you a possible future, but not just any future. A future that you are already creating. Déjà vu is your subconscious giving you a preview of what's to come. And the emotion you feel is the thermometer. It's the warning. It's the sign. Your consciousness is trying to warn you. The big question is, what future are you creating? Is it the future you really want? Most people live on autopilot. They react to events. They are swept along by the current of life. They don't create. Te hust wait. And déjà vu, for them, is just an error. But for you, who are watching this video, it is an invitation. The invitation to deprogramming, to conscious creation. The second step is what we call pattern inversion. Once you identify the pattern of a déjà vu, you invert. Italiano, for example, if you notice that a certain déjà vu is always linked to a feeling of failure, you consciously invert the pattern. The next time déjà vu happens, you will not feel fear. You will feel confidence. You will say to yourself, I've been here before. I know how this ends, and this time I'm going to do it differently. Déjà vu then becomes a tool. Not a warning, but a confirmation. The confirmation that you are in control, and it is not the flaw. The flaw is the reality they want you to believe in. The truth is that time is an illusion, and you are the master of your own experience. The déjà vu conspiracy is your freedom. It is the knowledge that the past, present, and future are not lines, but points on a vast map of possibilities, and that your consciousness is the needle that sews these points together. Creating your own reality, and the most powerful practice to reconnect with your consciousness, with your timeless self, is fractal meditation. Sit in a quiet place. Close your eyes and visualize a single point of light, and then watch that point expand and divide and multiply into thousands of points, millions, billions, until you see yourself as part of every point, as part of every person, of every tree, of every star. You are not in the universe. You are the universe. And time is just your toy, your tool, your portal. Their vu is not a flaw. It is proof that you are a timeless being, navigating the infinite possibilities of your own consciousness. Stop living like a passenger. Start living like the driver. Your destiny is not written. It is being created with every breath, with every choice, with every day. Boo. But what happens when the déjà vu is an echo not from the future, but from a past that is not your own? What if the memory that arises, sudden and inexplicable, is a recollection from a life you haven't lived? The brain, with its limitations, tries to fit this memory into a known pattern, resulting in the feeling of familiarity. But the truth is that you are accessing the vast library of the collective unconscious, a field of information that interconnects all minds and all eras. Ancient ancestral traditions and philosophies of reincarnation suggest that déjà vu can be a fragment of a past life, a residual memory that, for an instant, manifests in your current consciousness. It's like a flaw in the barrier of time, a breach that allows the past to infiltrate the present. This is not a flaw of your brain, but a characteristic of your soul. The soul, being timeless, carries all your experiences. It is not trapped in linear time. And when it encounters a situation or a place that resonates with a memory from a previous body, it tries to bring that information to the surface. Déjà vu is the first sign, the first reminder that your journey is much longer than a single lifetime. The system doesn't want you to remember your past lives, because that memory is what gives you power. It gives you knowledge of patterns, of mistakes, of successes. It frees you from the cycle of repetition, and the only way to break that cycle is through karmic understanding. Déjà vu can be a warning of a karmic pattern you are about to repeat. If you feel a déjà vu in a situation of conflict, loss, or disappointment, the universe is alerting you not to fall into the same mistake of a past life. It is the opportunity to break the wheel, to write a new destiny. To delve into this practice, add a section to your logbook for symbols and feelings. When déjà vu occurs, in addition to noting the event, write down the symbols you saw and the emotions you felt. You may have had a déjà vu upon seeing a symbol, a color, or an animal that repeats in your dreams and in your experiences. These are the markers, the anchors of your memory. They are the keys to your hidden memory, and over time you will begin to unlock access to this information. Your consciousness will begin to expand, and the veil between your lives will become thinner. The next step is the visualization of the 0 point. The 0 point is the moment when you are completely in the present, without past, without future. It is the moment of pure consciousness, where you can rewrite your reality. To do this, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. And then visualize yourself in an empty space, without color, without sound, without form. You are just a light. And in front of you, you see a clock that has no hands. Host a circle, and you realize that your consciousness is what makes the hands spin, and that you can stop it, and that you can make it spin backward. Your mind is your greatest tool, and time is just your toy. And your freedom is in reconnecting with your timeless nature, with your essence. Déjà vu is not a flaw, but an invitation. The invitation to the most important journey of your life. The invitation to free yourself from the prisons of time, fear, and repetition, and to live as the limitless being you truly are. You are not living a life. You are navigating infinite possibilities. And Déjà vu is your map. It is proof that you are on the right path. And every time it happens, remember, I've been here before. I know how this ends, and this time I will do it differently. Your future is being written now, and you are the author. That's why the system, with its architecture of control, has pushed us into the digital age. The excess of information, the speed, the constant distraction are not accidents. They are a way to keep us trapped in the present, in the superficial, preventing our consciousness from having the necessary space to jump or access other temporal dimensions. The obsession with productivity, the full schedule, the need to always be connected, are just invisible chains that prevent us from noticing the signs. Déjà vu is one of those signs, and that's why it happens in moments of calm, of boredom, of pause. It's when the mind, finally, has the chance to reconnect with its timeless nature, and the system fears that moment more than anything. So, how do you defend yourself from this bombardment of control? The answer lies in disconnecting. Not just from your cell phone, but from the mindset of always being busy. The third step is the practice of sacred idleness. It's not about doing nothing, but about doing something without a purpose, without a goal. Walk without a destination. Observe the clouds. Sit on a park bench, and just be. Without expectations, without goals. Allow your mind to wander. Allow memories to surface. Allow ideas to connect. In this state of non-doing, your consciousness expands. You become a receptacle, and the signs, the synchronicities, the messages from the universe can finally reach you. And it is in this state that déjà vus become more frequent and clearer. They are no longer mere flashes, but rather detailed maps of paths you can follow. What they don't tell you is that déjà vu is your compass. It is pointing you toward your mission, toward your purpose. Déjà vu is not an echo from the past or a preview of the future, but proof that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Your soul chose this moment, this place, this life to fulfill a specific task. And déjà vu is the universe telling you, keep going, you are on the right track. And the great conspiracy is that the system tries to divert you from that path. It creates distractions, fears, and desires that are not your own, so that you lose your compass and get lost in the labyrinth of life. The path to your freedom is the reconnection with your inner self. It is the understanding that life is not about getting somewhere, but about being in every moment.